Are you looking for ways to take control of your well-being while maintaining your career success and overcoming the barriers that hold you back? Well, my next guest, Miss Beverley Kotey, is going to tell you just how she helps women do that. She is the founder of the Black Women's Wellbeing Circle, and she is just going to let you know how special you are and how she can especially help you achieve that balance. Hello. So we are here today with Beverley Kotey, and she is from the Black Women's Wellbeing Circle. And we're going to find out a little bit more today about what that is and how you can learn more and even join for your own well-being. So this is exciting, and I'm so happy to have you here today, Beverly. How are you
Thank
today?
you. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on. It's really exciting to get to have a chat with you.
Yes, yes, you have a very special and unique mission and wellness. It's all combined with wellness, which a lot of us need but have been neglecting.
Yeah.
So, how did you start this journey as an entrepreneur? How did you come up with this type of business?
I have been working actually. My very I came to Pilates teaching and sort of well-being into and sort of really loved making people feel well. During a class, I'd make people like sort of torture people. But by the end of the class, they'd feel great. It's lovely. It's wonderful. I came to that a very, very long journey. When I finished university 1,000 years ago, I went into political lobbying. So I've had a very tortuous journey, got into well-being through Pilates, and then decided that I wanted to broaden things out, explore a bit. Um, then we had 2020, sitting around in lockdowns. Of course, we had the murder of George Floyd, which made me start looking at things in a different way, exploring and listening to people's experiences much more. I've grown up and lived my life in London in a very particular way. My experiences have been very particular. So I
Mm.
was able in that period where, the sort of racial justice movement found a voice. I was able in that period to start listening and realized there were some needs out there. So I
Mm.
started a process of getting in touch with Black professional women and just interviewing them, just exploring
Oh.
what life is like. And there was some real eye-opening. Some of our conversations were amazing. Some things were infuriating, their experiences, and some things really quite heartening. So it's from talking to these wonderful women um, that I kind of realized there was a need to provide some sort of support. So they are fantastic. They have all the qualifications you can imagine, everything. They're in lots of different industries. They're talented, they're skilled.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, the two issues that kind of affect them are being Black and being female.
Mm.
And incredibly, this is not just uh, it's not just restricted to one society, one nationality. It's across the board. It's here in the UK, it's in the US. I haven't spoken to any Canadian ladies, but I'm going to bet Canada, France, it's everywhere. So that's kind of how I came to my current mission.
Oh, and I applaud you for having this mission and your passion. Tell me more about your passion in this. What do you hope to achieve for these clients?
I want to give them a space where they can be themselves,
Mm.
where they can vent if they need to. Um, you can't necessarily be yourself in your work environment. You've always got to keep a veneer. There's lots of stuff about bring your whole self. But actually, the conversations I've had with some ladies, if they brought them their whole selves, we don't get the same leeway
Mm.
that other people do. I know white middle class men who come out with ridiculous, awful things, and people just kind of go, "Oh, that's just him being blah blah." They are allowed to bring their whole selves, and when you pull them up on it, they'll say, "Oh, it's just banter, it's just a joke." So there's a realization that these ladies can't bring their whole selves to work necessarily. So I want to give them a space in which they can say, "You know what, this thing happened, and it infuriated me this much." And because I get it, they don't have to explain the background.
Right.
They just have an opportunity to go blur. And I'm not going to question whether or not what they thought happened or not. If they
Yeah.
think it's like, no questions. It's you experienced this. This is what you felt. This is accept. I am completely accepting that, and talk more about it. Let out what you need to let out about it. This is the space for you to do that in. So
Oh,
that's sort of
that,
the root of, if you can get stuff out, get stuff off your chest, problem shared, that kind of thing. That's going to be like a massive bit of your self-care and a massive bit of your well-being, just to be able to let it out.
that is fantastic. Yeah, being able to just express feeling freely what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your experience was without judgment. That's huge. And without someone saying, did that really happen?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
is that's beneficial. And of course, like maybe some people try to express this to a significant other or a family member who just says, you need to change
Yeah.
your job. And after, I'm guessing, after working, several decades and spending every penny on education and certification and being the best of the best to get there in a certain position, just walking away from that job is not always the answer that we are looking for.
That's it. I mean, again, some of these ladies have amazing support groups, their partners, their families, their friends, whatever. But even then, some of them just kind of say, I feel like almost like a burden having to offload to them constantly.
Mm.
Um, I had a conversation with one person who had a rather unpleasant experience at work and wasn't able to leave it at work, of course. Was quieter and much more withdrawn at home. And they were telling me how actually the experience made them feel like they wanted to disengage.
Mm.
And it made me so sad because, again, qualifications like you wouldn't believe, expertise, experience, the stuff that you build over years and years and years of doing a role. And to get to the point you think to yourself, and just really passionate about the role, really passionate about delivering, to get to the point where something within the environment of your workplace, of your career, makes you think, I give up.
Oh.
It's just, it makes my blood boil. It's infuriating that these ladies have to be in this sort of situation. I've spoken to quite a few ladies who did leave, who've gone off to become consultants, which is fine. I wish for them that they had woken up and said, you know what, now I want to be a consultant, rather than I've got a good payoff because of the issues that I was forced to raise. Now I have to be a consultant. Yeah,
Mm.
there's yeah, the
Brilliant.
difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And it's funny because I was watching a documentary not too long ago about entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. And yeah, I did notice that a young Black woman after so much period in a certain position, decided, you know what, I'm going to leave this company. And I've
Mhm.
noticed also some of the consultants, the business consultants that are doing fabulous things in industry, but they left because the work environment, things that happen in the work environment, they decided they've had enough. And I always wonder, because we say we're breaking the glass ceiling, I wonder if they had stayed, would it help others to come along on that pathway, or is that just a fantasy? I don't even know.
I think it's a good point, and I think it's probably a mixed answer to that. Again, from some of the ladies I've spoken to and interviewed and worked with, they all of them like the idea of being able to be that role model, to be able to help pull other people up. I spoke to one wonderful woman who managed to get into the role. She's a director, and with great pride, she said to me, "All of my team look like me." I think it was maybe one man, but she had got to a point where she could employ all the team members, and she deliberately, within the bounds of what you can do with employment policy and employment law and stuff, but they all looked like her. So she had this wonderful situation where she was able to give a hand up to talented women. It wasn't about taking on people who didn't have the qualifications, didn't have the experience, but they looked like her. It was, she's talented, she's got the experience, she's going to be able to deliver, and also she's going to fit into this group. So, that's I think that's the only person who I've heard say that she's been able to do something like that.
Mm.
But it is hard. It is hard. I talk to people who have experience getting to director level. They're at board meetings and stuff. And there's a lady who was saying how when she called a meeting, she'd have to brace herself before heading into the meeting if there were people who were not familiar with her attending the meeting, because how do people perceive her? She has to, on occasions, explain that she's not there to take the notes. It's her meeting. So I think if you can stay and help other people along, that is wonderful and that is great. And yes, you can be the role model, you can be the person who other ladies in the organization will look up to and go, you know what, if she's there, she's heading to that board meeting, I could get there too. But you need a lot of resilience, strength of character, and perseverance to get there.
Mm.
And for some people, as much as they'd love to be a role model for the community and stuff, they also have to put their well-being and their mental health first.
Right, right. And that's where you come in, the
That
well-being.
is where I come in. Yeah, yeah.
And you just
That's the
remind me,
plan.
I couldn't even, the name is gone from me. Um, One of my role models, the first Black female entrepreneur. Um,
In the States, CJ Walker,
yes,
Madam Walker. Yeah,
Madam C.J. Walker.
yeah,
And because my role model is also Harriet Tubman, so that was the first name that came to mind.
yeah.
So I researched the story of C.J. Walker and how she had a team of Black women who started to build their own um, community, and
Mm,
were making good income through her, through
yeah,
her business.
yeah,
She employed them.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but at the same time, like that being the only solution to thriving in that kind of environment is a little sad. But
It's
it's,
sad.
yeah.
The other way of looking at it, and my experiences of companies in the UK and British companies, and we have here. a class system that still does exist in a way.
Oh.
We have private schools. So in the UK, there are schools that you pay to attend. We have great state school system, but your parents might decide that they're going to pay a lot of money for you to attend, and there are different levels of a lot of money. Um, there are the top end, the famous top end private schools. So like Eton, where our last prime minister went to. Our current prime minister also went to a top end fee paying school. And you look at these people, and when they get into roles, they recruit people who look like them, who have similar background to them. The idea of it being an old boys club, actually, it really is an old boys club. So there's an extent to which I sort of think to myself, the lady who has employed people who look like her, she's just doing what these guys have been doing for ages. People will employ people who make them feel comfortable at home, who get the jokes and this, that, and the other. This lady is just doing the exact same thing. We're asking for these guys who went to their privates, their public schools, and who are employing other people who also play golf and also follow the rugby and also are sending their kids to whatever other private school. We're asking them to be diverse and take people like us into their spaces, which they should. But I had a mischievous smile on my face when this lady said what she had done, because she's playing them at their own game.
Interesting. Interesting. Good, good. So tell me more about your story. If we can get a little personal here. What were you doing before you started this business, and what was your experience in Black women's well-being specifically?
To be honest, as I said earlier on, I had a real career meander, less of a journey, more of a meander. And my experience simply wasn't typical. I finished university, went into internships in the Houses of Parliament, where basically government sits. And at the time, I was in my early 20s, and I would get my hair plaited. And at one point, I had it plaited blue and black. And I was wandering around Parliament with black and blue hair, thinking, "Yay! I'm and it was very cool being in Parliament. And there were a few of us. There were loads of us youngsters sort of wandering around Parliament doing little jobs here and there. And there were a few of us, and there was some ethnic diversity as well, because it was the party I belonged to, or the party I was working with. It was all about that. Still, there were few enough of us that when you went to a reception, for instance, and it's predominantly white people in the reception, if a waiter was coming over, a waitress was coming over, and they were black, because there were so few of us in the room, you just kind of there's that little acknowledgement nod thing. Oh, another black person. And it was it was just a thing you kind of did without realizing. Anyway, so I did that. I worked in spaces where I would go into meetings, and I was the only black woman in the room. I was the only young black woman in the room. And actually, it was okay. I look back on that, though, and realize that I wasn't senior, and I wasn't trying to be senior. These were my sort of entry level, relatively low level jobs. And on the whole, I kind of wasn't bothering anyone, almost. Unlike the ladies I'm dealing with, I'm working with, they are people who are sort of mid-career and wanting to become department directors. They want to be at the board meetings. So It's one of the reasons why all the listening work I've been doing had been such a revelation, because I stopped working in that area, um, maybe I cannot remember, time flies. 10, 15 years ago, perhaps. I kind of moved away from there and started my journey towards well-being. So
Mm.
it struck me that had I stayed and had I then been trying to climb up the ladder, then I would have experienced the things that these ladies have experienced and are
Wow.
experiencing.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And now I asked you about your story, and you're kind of reminding me of my background as
Yeah.
an engineer. So,
Ah,
mm. So
okay.
I started, which people say, "Oh no," I even had someone say, "Oh, yeah, no, you don't look like an engineer." Like, what does an engineer look
What's an
like?
engineer look like? Yeah.
Yes, I have enjoyed my travel and my life in English teaching, but that was not
Mhm.
where I started out from. That was
Okay.
a passport to the world.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
one thing I loved and still do love was electronics.
yeah.
And as a little girl, I remember getting a radio as a gift, a toy radio, and taking it apart and having my parents confiscate it because they thought I was breaking things, and I got into a lot of trouble with every device that was in my home. At that time, the VCR, I learned how to program it before my father did. And okay, here's this little kid trying to watch Care Bears and playing with adult, gadgets. And so I said, okay,
Really.
I will go off to school and stop getting in trouble
Mhm.
once I get my degree. And boy, what a journey that was. I went to what used to be an all men's school. So
Oh,
yeah, it was definitely a part of the old boys club, but
yeah.
there was a lot of international students there. So we definitely had a good mix of us, but very, very few women,
Right.
except for other departments like architecture
Mhm.
and the not interior decorating, but the engineering type of decorating. It'll come to me later. And I remember just trying to be heard in the class,
Mhm.
asking questions, having the hand up, and being passed over. And I remember one of my instructors used to come in and say, "Hello, gentlemen," every lesson. And so and me as a young woman, and I think this is the thing that sets us apart as we get older and get more mature. You're like, what do I do?
Mhm.
Like, I feel that something is wrong here,
Mhm.
but this is a person in a position.
Yes.
And I am just, a freshman or newbie in this environment. Who do I go to? What course do I take? I am
Yeah.
dependent on this person for a grade.
Yeah.
So, you lose your voice in that type of environment. You don't lose your identity.
Mhm.
Actually, sometimes, or not sometimes, for me, it shaped my identity
Mhm.
because it made me more in tune to injustice
Yeah. Yeah.
and fairness and inclusivity,
Mhm.
which is why I have built the business that I have now, because I really understand what it is like to be put on the back burner when you have so much talent to offer,
Yeah.
which is a shame. And I think when we talk about economics here in the States or anywhere in the world. I worked for a long time in Japan, and a lot of those women I worked in a large trading company. And as an English teacher in a large trading company, you kind of get, to be high on the rock because you're a foreigner and they have something you need. So you're in that
Yeah.
position. You get to be in that position of authority. But what I learned is that the education system, men and women, were going to the same classes, getting the same degrees,
Yeah.
graduating. She becomes a secretary. He becomes a manager. Now, get this. When you are a secretary of a high-level manager, you're doing a lot of the work, if not all of the paperwork. He gets to socialize and make the decision.
Yeah.
So that is such untapped talent that is being put on the back burner because of, well, this is a cultural thing. It's hopefully changing, and I did get to meet one woman manager who was quite different from anybody I've ever met. And so she had to take on that role as, hey, I'm going to be the I don't give a shit person, and not conform. But apart from her, I look into the room in the secretarial pool and I said, how much knowledge and talent is being for I don't know the word for it, but I keep saying put on the back burner. It's not being utilized fully.
It's a waste. Yeah, it's a waste.
Wasted.
It's similarly the ladies who have to leave their companies. It strikes me that if you just gave them a better environment, the work, the productivity of these women, these companies that lose them are losing so much more than just a name on an email list. They are losing people who are powerhouses. And if you're in a company, you're trying to get things done. You want your business to succeed. You want your government department to succeed. I spoke to someone who left government, civil service roles, because she had come to the concrete ceiling. She knew she was ambitious. She knew she wanted to do more, but she also knew there was, at that level, only one black woman, the beacon, but there were not going to be other roles, and she ended up leaving. And it's infuriating because you want the brightest and the best in something like government department, civil service. If you're a business that's trying to, increase your bottom line and stuff, why would you deliberately lose your talent? Why would you do that? Why would you lose people who? And it's, again, here in the UK, in the States, you look at the qualifications that black women have, and you see that there are times where it's actually difficult for them to make the case to their company to invest in their further study, their master's, their MBA. So they go find the money, they go do it themselves. They are that determined. And if you think about it, why would you not bend over backwards to keep someone who's that ambitious and determined in your company delivering for you? Why would you not do that?
Why would you?
It's like those secretaries.
Yeah.
It's a waste, isn't it?
Yeah. Why would you not keep your talent? That is something that hopefully this message gets out to the right ears and really starts people thinking about this area that they've never thought of or heard of or can relate to and haven't had anyone like you to communicate with. So in your coaching, how does Pilates come in to the wellness circle.
To be fair, so far I haven't taken anyone through their Pilates paces, but you know what? If we had a session, if we had a program, and one of the things that came up was someone needed to move and to get the enjoyment of moving their body to be able to help loosen them up and relax them and center them, then yeah, I'd throw in some Pilates or do a lovely online session and yeah, feel lovely, chilled and empowered.
I can honestly say I love Pilates because you can get a lot of work done in a short period of time
You can,
before a
you
busy
can.
work woman. And I have a class tomorrow.
Brilliant. High five.
And yeah, yeah. So this well-being, and you are talking to these women, and you are transforming their lives by this mission. And what is the transformation that they can hope to achieve after working with you?
The idea is to be able to have points of clarity. So our process is that we'll get together, we'll work out what how things are, what the difficulties are that they're experiencing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to unpick things. You're so used to how things are. Sometimes you just need to be able to step back and have someone else hold your hand and kind of look to see, okay, well, what's this and what's this, and actually, how do you feel about that? So we would do that. Then we put together a bit of a plan. So it might be that I'm working with a lady who just needs to spend more time with her self-care. So we'll timetable things for her. We'll, ring fence some self-care time so that she gets the opportunity to download
Mm.
uh, and not be taking all the tension from work to home. And if she's not taking the
Oh,
tension from work to home, she's a nicer, happier mother or partner or daughter or whatever it is. So it's, these things ripple through into the rest of our lives. And it's, I think the biggest thing would be able to create a situation where someone feels good. They can leave their troubles at work, even if they're working from home, and close the laptop. You're done. And you can just enjoy living.
yes.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
instead of disengaging and tearing yourself into two different pieces, you are fully engaging in life and feeling fulfilled and
That's it.
understanding that, okay, there are some things that might not change about work, but I
Yeah,
can leave that at work and
exactly.
still enjoy a full life. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's
excellent.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's that you sort of can't ask for more than that. Someone being able to walk away and just kind of go, okay, I'm good. Now let me do some quality time with the people I love.
And we've spoken previously, and I've told you that the past couple of years has been a whole eye-opening for me in this whole self-care and
Mm,
wellness journey that I'm on. And the first step was awareness, being
yeah,
aware of some bad habits, being aware of my own feelings, like the young girl that was in engineering school, and I did graduate with my engineering degree, electrical engineering degree. And then I moved over to Japan to become an engineer and ended up being a teacher, which I also loved. But I wasn't aware of my feelings well enough to actually tell people, hey, this is not
mm,
okay.
yeah,
I was always questioning myself, is this okay? And then
mm,
I would tell somebody something, that I didn't feel right happened, and they would say, are you sure that happened
yeah,
in this country? And I would say,
yeah,
I'm kind of sure that it happened. So questioning myself. So being able to just, fully experience the human experience of, hey, this is how I feel. This is my journey. This is my awareness of self. And I'd like to make you aware. Or if you're not able to listen, that's fine. but
Yeah.
at least I know what to do, the steps that I need to do to
That's it.
rebuild and care for myself.
That's it.
That's a
That's it.
beautiful thing.
I, we have the strong Black woman,
Mm,
and sometimes that can be damaging.
absolutely. And I will,
Being,
that is the latest. Okay, I just want to just get in here that that is the biggest thing that has occurred to me in my self-awareness journey. The strong Black woman meant before previous generations that we had to take it all on
Mhm,
our backs. We had to take
mhm,
the whipping, so to speak, and
mhm.
it makes you stronger. I'm now realizing that that is not the way it has to be.
Yeah,
I can be me without bearing, injustice
yeah.
or pain.
You can ask for help. You can, it's
Yes.
okay to ask for help. It's okay to draw boundaries and say, you know what, I can't take any more, it could be work. I'm not going to take any more work on because these are my boundaries. This is the capacity I have that's going to help me maintain my ability to deliver great work. It's going to help me maintain my ability to go home on time and to care for myself. We can do that kind of thing. We can say, you know what, I need help. It's not just a case of we put our head down, we just get on with it. It doesn't matter what's thrown at us. We can take everything that's thrown at us, and we just kind of going back to it. Actually, no, we're allowed to say stop. And certainly here, the stats show that Black women have more incidences of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. Um, Probably no coincidence that there is this idea of the strong Black woman who's running her family, doing work, and getting everything done, and just getting it all done and getting it all done. It's probably no coincidence that anxiety and depression are the things that we are more prone to than our counterparts.
Hmm.
So being able to say, you know what, these are my boundaries. I will take time out. I will ask for help. All of those things. Um, those are a form of strength as well. Being able to say, these are my
Yes,
boundaries is a form of strength. Yeah.
yes. Even, yeah, strength in vulnerability, strength in asking for help. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
applaud you.
All of this stuff. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for joining me here
It's been
today.
lovely.
This has been a lovely chat.
It really has.
And
I've really enjoyed.
I will be posting links to your website and for people to book a call with you and reach out to you just to start the first step on their awareness journey. How important the self-care is, how important wellness is, and how special they are.
Yes. They're amazing. They are amazing. And they have to keep remembering, and maybe one of my things is to be their cheerleader and keep reminding them they are amazing and wonderful, and we need to protect them and help them protect themselves. Yeah.
Mm, protect
Yeah.
them and help them protect themselves. Thank you.
It's okay. It's been lovely chatting. It's been really, really. I could carry on for ages, but I know we've got to go.
We will stay in touch, and
Absolutely.
as you grow your business, please keep me informed and updated.
I
And
will do. I will do. Thank you so much. Lovely.
bye.
Bye.
Avoid burnout and create more balance with Beverly's well-being checklist so that you can give more of yourself to the things that you love and enjoy and avoid the stress and burnout in your career. Just check the links and I will be seeing you next time.